Hey everyone, it's Allie, and with Last Epoch's next season coming up in just a short few days, I want to make a video going over all the community tools that we have access to that will just make your life a little bit better. We're going to go over loot filters, we're going to go over databases, we're going to go over where to find build guides, and a lot more. So let's get into it, and let's go over all of it as fast as we can. Now, if you ever want to know exactly how things scale in the game or charts, or if you ever want to see exactly how certain mechanics might work, TunkLabs is pretty much the best place to go for this. TunkLabs has calculators on pretty much every single thing that is relevant to the game, with really nice sliders that allow you to very easily see how everything in the game scales at different points. My favorite portion of TunkLabs is the HP calculator, where you can very easily put in stats and different things to see exactly how tanky your character might be. There's also a lot of really nice things for crafting, such as the Glyph of Despair calculator, where you can see the chance of everything, or things such as the Rune of Ascendance calculator, where you can simply look at the chances of you getting any specific item from using a Rune of Ascendance. There's a lot of really good things on TunkLabs, and honestly, I'd recommend to give it a go and check it out for yourself if there's anything specific you might ever be interested on in terms of Last Epoch and how it works. And on top of that, we also have ourselves Last Epoch tools, which, well, is going to pretty much be the primary focus of a lot of the things we're going to discuss in today's video, because, well, this website kind of just ends up doing everything. The nice thing about this is in the resources tab, we have basically information on every single thing in the game. For example, want to see all the one-hand axes? Here's all the one-hand axes, along with where they drop, along with their reroll chance, and any sort of relevant stats about them. You can click on them to get a more detailed view on them, see any changes that happen to them, and, well, it's really easy to go and look for whatever you specifically want to look at. The other really nice thing is that it has every single skill in the game. So if you want to know more about Arcane Ascendance, well, here's all the details about Arcane Ascendance. If you want to go and look at ailments and see how ailments work, well, everything's in here as well. Literally every single little bit of information about the game, about anything you can encounter in it, and about just any sort of relevant stuff that you might want to know can be found somewhere in Last Epoch Tools. The portion of Last Epoch Tools that I think a lot of people are going to specifically interact with is going to be the build guide section of it. Now, there's two specific tabs that you're going to care about here, the build guide section and the build tool, where the build tool is simply just a tool that scrapes every single place that is Last Epoch related. It scrapes the forums, it scrapes any other website, it scrapes YouTube, and it simply just takes every single thing that could be classified as a build and just links it here for you to look through it. The nice thing about this is it allows you to also filter things. So for example, if I want to look at specifically Spellblade builds, well, here's every single YouTube guide or video or whatever that was posted that is specifically on a Spellblade. If you want to find a Spellblade build specifically using Frostclaw, well, there you go. The other interesting part, and the part I like the most, is the build guide section, as these are specifically tailor-made builds that are specifically on the website that you cannot get anywhere else, that are curated to be super in-depth, super in detail, and to basically hold your hand through whatever you're interested in looking for. This, in my opinion, is the best place to find builds, so if you're interested in finding a new build to play, I'd recommend giving this a gander. The other portion of Last Epoch tools you might be really interested in is the build planner. Here, it's pretty easy for you to go and put together whatever character you want to look at. For example, if you want to go look at a Void Knight, we can select the Void Knight. We can click on the chest plates and then go look through all the chest plates, maybe select the base, such as the Apocalypse plates, go to prefixes and go look at the different stats and, I don't know, add on T5 damage reflect to our chest plates, go put on some attunements, go put on some armor. And basically this just allows us to craft items in the planner, put them on, and see exactly what your stats are going to look like with all the different changes they're going to make. In the passive tree, you can also select all your passive points, and this will be reflected in the stats. And you can even create a passive tree progression, which will then allow you to select points in whatever order you want to select them in. And then whenever you're done, you'll have a slider, which allows you to basically plan exactly how you want to take your passive points ahead of time, so you don't have to guess and think about it later. We also have skills. So if you want to plan your skills, want to see what that looks like, it's all here. The build planner is amazing. It's literally one of the greatest features on this website. You can also go and make a loot filter specifically based on the build and the stats you have access to. So it's just amazing. If you want to talk about loot filters, while you can make a loot filter in game, you can also go to the loot filter section and just go look for loot filters. It has the same exact filtering that the rest of the website does. So if you want to look for a mage filter for specifically Frostclaw builds, well, there you go. These are all the filters specifically made for mages and Frostclaws. The thing I really like here is the create loot filter, where you can use the filter wizard to basically make you a somewhat decent templated filter for whatever you want to play. They can then go and modify later. For example, we could do a filter for Primalist that specifically is going to use spells. It's not going to use any dots, and it's going to specifically do lightning damage. And let's say for the skills that we want to use, we're going to specifically be an earthquake build with Fury Leap, and we could then input any sort of other relevant stat. Once we do this, all it's going to do is just going to make us a filter, which also is going to act as a leveling filter, as all of this will be relevant for the leveling section of it, showing you better and better gear for whatever you put in here. Obviously, these aren't perfect, and they also rely on you configuring them correctly. But again, the beautiful thing about this is you can always go and just copy paste this into the game and then just update the rules of it later to exactly what you need. Even if you can't exactly make the proper filter for whatever build you want to play, there's most likely someone who's made a filter on Last Epoch tools that fits exactly what you need. One thing I might want to point out is Alliesink. This is kind of a play on words on Neversink and Filter Blade for PoE1, where I kind of went and attempted to create something akin to a Filter Blade for Last Epoch that is going to be updated for Season 2. This is only meant to be used in the endgame, and it does require a little bit of setup from you to be able to properly use. And I'll link a video in the description below if you want to know more about Alliesink and how to properly use it if you are interested in it for Season 2. This is most likely going to be updated for launch, and there'll be a proper link for it if you want to use it, so enjoy it if you want it. Now, the final thing I want to quickly mention as well, although not necessarily a community tool, given that how good this game is, it's honestly something really worth mentioning. The Last Epoch forums themselves are a pretty darn good place to go look for any sort of information or any sort of things that you might be interested in knowing about. There's a lot of really nice and a lot of really, really kind people on here, which will pretty easily answer whatever questions you might want to know on anything relevant. There's also a set of forums on Last Epoch tools, and while this one isn't as popular, could also be a place for you to look for any sort of information that you might need. With all this, between everything that Last Epoch tools and TunkLabs gives you, realistically, I like that all the community tools that you ever might want to consider using or interacting with are all in two places. Make it very easy for you not to have to remember 13 different websites and links that you might have to for something like PoE. If you have any questions on anything we discussed here and would like further explanation on something, feel free to leave a comment in the comments below, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions for you as soon as I can. I also stream on Twitch every single day, so feel free to come by and ask me any of your questions there. Or if you simply want to come by, come and hang out with other cuties and be a part of our community, I'd be more than happy to see you there as well. With all that said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see you cuties in the next video.